Hello, and welcome to part 3 of my Civilization 5 walkthrough on Deity. And just picking up where I left off last time. I gotta admit, this is one of my least favorite moments in the game when I already have all my cities built. I've explored all the area that I can settle. I mean, if you look at my map, obviously there's a lot more areas that I can explore, but at this point, there really isn't much purpose to it, unless I was going for a military victory and I wanted to know where everyone else was so I could plan accordingly. But, at this point, it's all about getting my science and my production going, because, got to get my science going so I can research all those technologies I need to build the spaceship. And I got to get my production going so I can build the parts and get them to my capital as soon as possible. And with 6 cities, that's pretty easy to do. I was lucky in this game that I was able to get 6 cities. Most of the time on Deity I can get 4 if I'm lucky. And 4 cities is good when you're trying to build a spaceship. What I normally do is I have my capital build the cockpit and the stasis chamber and I can't remember what the other one's called, but the boosters I always have my other cities building, and they're building the booster while my capital is building those other parts, because my capital tends to have more production than the other cities, and if I time it right, I'm able to get all 6 spaceship parts produced at the same time. So with 6 cities, that's even easier to do. And just making more research agreements. Another thing I lucked out in this one is that I was able to have so much gold without building a military. I don't have to use as much gold on upkeep on my units. So right now I'm at plus 43. And when you're trying to make research agreements with 7 other civilizations, you gotta have a lot of gold. You gotta make a lot of money. Rome looks like they're in trouble there, at least that city is. Looks like a city-state's gonna take it. There's nothing more sad than when a city-state captures one of your cities. I don't think Rome cares at this point. If I take a look at the leaderboard, I'm pretty sure Rome is one of the top civs at this time. Yeah, they got cannons, they're fine. Something I should start getting into the habit of doing is checking out the notifications that pop up on the right column there. Um, Rome just made a declaration to the world. It probably just means that they're an ally of a city-state or they're protecting a city-state, but when I play this game, I should really do a better job of keeping track of all those things. You can probably tell by my style of play that I tend to stick to myself and not really worry too much about what other people are doing. Al-Razi. This is another great scientist. I don't know who he is. You'd think they would try to make the great scientists match the Civ that you're playing. Like, right now I'm playing as Korea. So instead of giving me a great scientist who is obviously Arabic, his name is Middle Eastern, you'd think they would try to instead give me great scientists from Korea. But, oh well. I guess it doesn't really matter. One of the things I kind of miss about this game, although I haven't upgraded my Civ 5 game in a couple years, so it's possible they may have brought religion back. But I used to play Civilization 4. That was one of my favorite games. And religion was a big part of that game. And I was surprised that when I got Civilization 5, they didn't have religions in it. Which I thought was odd, because, religion is such an important part of the development of these countries. They probably figured it caused too many problems. People are very passionate about their beliefs, and you start bringing religion into the game, people tend to take it way too seriously. Personally, I don't think God cares. I think he's got much more important things to do than worry about religion in the Civilization video game. Yeah, Caesar is 1500, Elizabeth's 1400. These guys are kicking ass. That score doesn't really mean much when you're going for the victory that I'm going for. All that matters is that you get that spaceship first. These guys are kicking ass, but I'm at almost 500, and it looks like there's a couple other civilizations right there with me. Yeah, 3 of them. So I've caught up to most of the rest of the world. That gives me a fighting chance. This is where the game starts to suck. These other civs are getting wise to my act, and they are now charging me much more for research agreements. An equal trade is about 200 gold at this point, and you just saw there Japan charged me an extra 100 to make it worth their while. I hate doing it. I'm all about fairness. I want, if I give you something, I expect the same in return, but in order for this strategy to work, sometimes you've got to sacrifice those ideals. Why did I not build a road to that town yet? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter at this point, but eventually it will. At this point, too, I also try and get scientific buildings, universities at least, in all of my cities, because one of the social policies coming up is a plus 17 science from your universities. And since your university has already given you a 33% increase in science, it makes it so that your universities, the net result is your university gives you a 50% boost in science. So I definitely want to get a university in all of my cities by the time I adopt that social policy. Looks like I got called away again. This happened way too much in this game. I apologize for that. What was crazy about this was my first attempt to video capture a game I was playing. And I just lucked out that it was a game that I ended up winning. I thought I was going to have to play a couple games before I would be able to capture a game on Deity that I actually won. But everything kind of clicked into place on this round. Except for the porcelain tower. I didn't get the porcelain tower. That makes it, I probably would have won the game much sooner if I had that. But everything else just worked out great. What also sucks is I don't have any coal. I'm trying to see if there's coal anywhere on this island. I don't think I mined any coal in this game. And that's a real drawback because you need coal in order to build a factory. And if I don't have coal, I definitely try and trade for some so I can build. Yeah, here we go. I'm researching steam power right now, and that's where I would get my factories. That really helps with production. And in fact, it's pretty much a necessity when you're trying to build spaceships. You gotta get that production up there. But when I don't have coal, I try and trade for it, but it doesn't look like I have anything to trade. I don't have horses, I don't have iron, I don't have oil. I think I saw some oil off my coast. Off the east coast, below what we're looking at now. But, there we go. See, research agreements, they just keep coming, and just like that, I jumped ahead 5 or 6 turns. Gandhi's been a really good ally to me this whole time. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of oil over there. And that social policy I just adopted means I get a +2 from all of my great people that, or at least all the specialists that are in my cities. Like right here, you see I have, well, I just clicked off the screen, but you saw I had 2 specialists at the university and 1 at the what's it called? The workplace. And so I got 6 altogether, but this is for all my cities, so that really jumped my science. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, my science jumped to 257. I never get science up high enough, though, to research those spaceship technologies fast. By the time I get to the spaceship technologies, it takes me a good, man, I don't know, 30 turns just to get one technology. That's why the research agreements are so important. When I have the porcelain tower and the science social policy, I'll cover those 30 turns with one research agreement. Just boom, just like that, I'll get it. With only one of them, though, which I have right now. Right now, I only have the science social policy. I only get about half of that. Statue of Liberty was just built, and as you can see, I am well into the industrial era along with whoever built it, so we're doing a pretty good job. Rome has an artillery cannon. That sucks. If he decided to go to war with me, that artillery cannon in that one city could probably wipe out my entire civilization. At this point, though, most of these civs are so busy fighting each other, even though I'm an easy target this late in the game, if I've had good relationships with them for the past 1,000 years, they tend not to declare war on me. So I feel relatively safe in this position. Electricity, though, this is the technology where you have to make some choices, because this is where the technology tree splits. From here, I can decide to try and get another scientific building, the laboratory, or I can go for my spaceship technologies right away. And it is a judgment call. I am trying to remember what I did specifically. As I said before, I've already played this game. I'm making this commentary days later. So trying to remember the details of what happened here. But I guess we'll find out in 4 turns which way I go. I'm guessing that I went for the spaceship directly. I don't think I went for the laboratory. It just takes up too much time. What I might have done, and I do this on occasion, is I go for the spaceships, and then when I get my 2 free technologies, which I get at the end of this social policy, the science social policy, one of the last ones you adopt is 2 free technologies. Sometimes I use those 2 free technologies to get the ability to build the laboratory. I think that's what I did in this situation. So I used my horses to get more happiness. I probably should have traded them for coal. I don't know how much coal I would have gotten for 4 horses, maybe just 1, but it would have been a start, especially for my capital. This is kind of annoying when I'm trying to get something done somewhere else and the computer keeps shifting me over to other units. You can see in that city also, I have my great scientist just sitting there. I like to save my great scientists for later on in the game. You know, when I start coming to technologies that take 20 to 30 turns in order to achieve, I like to use a great scientist just to instantly discover that technology. So that's what I'm saving him for. Also got to get more culture so I can speed up the process of that science social policy. If you neglect your culture, then it just takes too long to adopt everything that you need. At this point, it's not too big of a deal. Like, you can see the temple's just going to take 3 turns to get. Oh, ooh, for a moment there I thought I was going to take it. I think I explained this in my last video. I don't like making public declarations of friendship because I need to have good relations with all 7 of these civs, and I can't do that. When I start making public declarations of friendships with one, I end up making enemies with others, and it's just not worth it. So So what do I do here? Looks like I do have aluminum somewhere in my land. Maybe I end up trading that for coal. Looks like we'll see if I change the course here, but looks like I'm going to go forward and try and get, yeah, it looks like I'm going forward and trying to get the laboratory. Whew, gutsy move, Jeff. I think I did that because I'm not as desperate at this point. I'm almost caught up with everyone. So if I was a little bit more desperate, I'd probably just go for the spaceship technologies and not go for the laboratory. Yeah, I'm checking to see when my next research agreement will come in. It'll come in the very next turn. So I am looking to strategize where I want to go with it. Caesar's in the modern era. I think I'm in the modern era. No, I'm not. If I get refrigeration, I'll be in the modern era. So yeah, I'm still caught up with him for the most part. You see that science going up a little bit more. Had to change that though because that city would have been starving if I kept all 3 specialists there. So I just put 2 at my university and let another one work the food tiles. So let's find out what I did here. See, Ramsey just now entered the industrial era, and I'm going to hit the modern era right here, or I should at least, when this research agreement goes through. So yeah, I've already passed up half the other civilizations. Which is good. I had a few. Looks like I had one with Augustus. I think I had one with another guy at the same time. Oh no, looks like it was just Augustus. I had other deals with other guys, but I didn't have research agreements. Oh no, right there, I had one with Darius. When you have both the porcelain tower and the science social policy, and you have research agreements with 2 or 3 civilizations at the same time, holy crap, when those things roll in, you take giant leaps ahead in the science tree. It is unreal. Hopefully none of them go to war with you. That's one of the things that annoys me about the game is sometimes you'll have a research agreement with one of these guys, and then out of nowhere they'll declare war on you. And when that happens, it cancels out the research agreement. And you don't get the money back, the money's just gone. So it's a wasted trade. And sometimes I think they do it just to deprive me of that research agreement. They screw themselves over at the same time, but, you know, they don't care. I may have also gone for this technology, the plastics technology, because I don't have coal or any of these other things I need for my production. However, I do have aluminum. It looks like I have a lot of aluminum. So I can build a hydro dam on these rivers. Looks like I have 3 cities on rivers. So that hydro dam will come in handy. And I can also build a spaceship factory with aluminum. Although, man, I can't remember at this moment. I think you need a factory first before you can build the spaceship factory. If that's the case, then, you know, forget it. The aluminum is just worthless. I don't know, maybe I built some helicopters with it, so I have at least some kind of defense. To tell you the truth, though, I don't think I bothered. I think I'm like Switzerland in this game. I don't bother with a military. Just have really great relations with everyone, and build on those relations. Oh crap. Oh. Saudi Arabia already has the space program. Man, at this point, I like to be the first to get the space program, or at least close to getting the technology for it. But because I went for plastics, man, I'm going to have a hard time catching up to that now. I think what happened, I think Arabia ended up going to war later on in the game, so they weren't even building spaceships. I think they were just building military parts. I traded some aluminum there because I really don't need it. I still have, 4 aluminum for my cities, but that's all I need at this point. Hell, I only need 3. I only have 3 cities that are on rivers. At this point, I start thinking about production in my capital. I gotta get, a workshop in there. I gotta get a factory. Gotta start building production tiles around it because I'm gonna use that city. Excuse me. I'm gonna use that city to build the Apollo program. Because I can't start building any of my spaceship parts until that Apollo program is finished, so I gotta get that built as soon as possible. Man, I'm noticing all my mistakes in this walkthrough again. I took the time to research the technology for that laboratory, that science laboratory, and now I'm not even bothering to build the laboratories. Ugh, Jeff. Wasted turns. So many wasted turns. It's a frickin' miracle I won this game, looking at all the mistakes I've made. Ugh. Pretty much every other time I've beaten this game on Deity, I played a pretty much flawless game. This was just pure luck. Well, I shouldn't say that. There was still some skill involved. I shouldn't sell myself too short on that. the one with Ramses came through. See, I am not even... Oh, Jeff. Oh, man. I'm not going to go so far as to say that was a mistake. Because, oh, sure feels like it, though. I really could have used that Hydra Dam. Looks like I didn't even bother to go for it. It's another reason I generally don't go for that laboratory, is because once you get to that point, you gotta start building up your production. And if you're busy trying to build another science building, you're robbing yourself of the chance to put in some more production. Got an oil tile over there I'm not working or not even trying to get to. I mean, that's a great commodity to trade, to get some coal. Well, it looks like I forgot about that other aluminum tile. Looks like that wasn't that stupid of a move, because I just got 8 more aluminum. Now I'm trying to remember, I don't think I ever tried to work that oil tile. At this point I want the 2 free technologies, so that's why I'm trying to build all these temples and get more culture going. Especially because temples at this point are so cheap. As you can see, I can build them in 4 or 5 turns in cities that don't have that much production. In fact, those cities in particular, there's so little production in those, I'm probably not going to even bother trying to build spaceship parts in them, because it would just take way too long. It's Golden Age, so I'm going to try and maximize my gold. Don't get Golden Ages very often at this level, so when they do happen, you definitely want to take advantage. Sacrificing a lot of science here. I should be up in the 400s with my science, and I'm just a little bit below 300. That's not good. Wish there was a way I could just skip through all of this, because none of it concerns me. This is the reason the game takes so long. Well, processing turns for other players is 90% of the lag. Could probably finish this game in an hour if it was just me. And normally it does just kind of skip right next to your turn, but anything that happens in your field of vision, the computer feels like it has to show it to you. I want to build that hydro plant. It's going to take 22 turns. Man. Once this golden age is over, I gotta remember to go to that. I think there I decided, since the public school is only 5 turns away, to go ahead and finish it before building the hydro dam. Same story as before. Gotta get those temples out there so I can get my culture going. It's very rough decisions, because you've got to balance all these different things. Do you need culture? Do you need production? Do you need science? What is the most advantageous thing to do in that moment? And you do. Sometimes you change your mind. Sometimes you start to go down one path and you realize it's not the best move at that moment. There, I was just checking to make sure that I had agreements with everyone. I'm checking the time on this video. It looks like it is exactly 1 hour, which worries me. I think I may have kept playing, not realizing how long I was on the computer. So I'm hoping I have every turn on video here, but it's possible that I do not. I don't like to trade money for a luxury resource because I need my money at this point, so I have these strategic resources like the aluminum that I'm not using, so why not? Yeah, I went through all that trouble to get the laboratory, and I'm only building one of them. Man, this was a big mistake. I should have just headed straight for the rocketry, the Apollo program. Just wasted turns. I probably have it already by now if it wasn't for that. He's going to play hardball here. This guy. Well, Japan, that he was just asking for too much. I couldn't do it. Starting to wonder, did they all do this to me? Did they all start asking for too much? No, looks like it was just Japan. I know the last time I traded with Japan, he only asked for $100 more, and that was a trade that I was willing to make. But to ask for a luxury resource, I'm already low on happiness. Oh, I did it. Oh. Well, I still got two, and my cities aren't growing, so I guess it's not going to hurt me too bad. But still, wow, I'm surprised. I don't care. Come on. Just because my frigate is over there, you don't have to show me. Damn. Arabia has already built the cockpit. You know, when... Man, normally at this point, I stop the game and start over. If another civilization has already built a spaceship component, and I don't even have the Apollo program yet, it's normally a lost cause. And I think Arabia is the only country that has the Apollo program. But he's clearly working on it, and he's way ahead of me. How the hell did I win this? I have a very bad memory. I played this just a couple days ago, and I don't remember how I won it. You can see at my science it's at 395, almost 400, and that's really where it should be at this point. The other cool thing about Korea is every time you build a science building in your capital, it gives you a boost as if it was a research agreement. So, as you can see, I've got the laboratory there in my capital. In one turn, it is going to be complete, so that's going to give me another boost. That should put me very close to where I need to be. I've only got about a minute left on this video. I don't think I knew. I think I lost track of time in part 3 here, because I just kept on playing. Well guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my commentary, even though my gameplay isn't going to match what I'm saying. At the end of my videos you see me saving the game and moving on, but it looks like I'm going to go over time here. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let the video finish, and so you can see all the turns and everything I did. But I'm going to sign off, and I will be back tomorrow for hour 4, which is the final part, an hour of the series where I won this game. And I am very anxious to see how I pulled this off, because it looks almost impossible at this point. But we'll see. Oh, I did see it. Oh.